Hello. We're live. We're back for the Heslop Tech Talk Live. A little bit of redundant and said that we're live for Heslop Tech Talk Live, but you get the picture, friends. We're here. We're with you. We're ready to talk some tech. Joshua, Jeremy, how are you all doing today?
Doing fabulous.
Fabuloso. How are things out each of your ways? Germs, how is the Eastern Shore?
Beautiful as always. You need to come visit. There's the beach, sun in the sand, and we're ready to tech talk and talking tech.
Tech. Joshua, how is the more southern part of the region going?
It is 87 degrees Fahrenheit and partly cloudy.
Ooh,
with a precipitation chance 15% with 66% humidity and wind 8 miles an hour.
That's crazy town.
Where am I?
Oh no, sorry. That I got like 9 notifications all at once. I was trying to figure out what was happening. Nice. It's like it's 87 degrees here. It's partly cloudy, so it's pretty nice today. I was out earlier. You know, a little bit of a breeze, which felt good. So nothing too crazy, but they call this Techtober because of all the phone launches, all of the craziness that's happening. Lots of dancing is happening. So feeling good, feeling great. But there's been specifically a couple already this week. I don't know if we'll talk about the Nokia 7.1, but that's a good mid-range phone. If somebody asks about it later, Techtoby. I like it. If people ask about it and want to talk about it, we'll jump into that. Tobear. Nice. Tobias. We'll talk about that maybe later. We'll see. But I'm interested in what LG's putting out here. And to start off, they have. Ooh, I'm out of focus there. Hey there, C920. Get it together, brother. Something that was kind of interesting. They had teased about this a while back. But this is a Android Wear smartwatch that has classic mechanical hands. So you see here, that's not just a watch face. Those are actually metal watch hands here, which is pretty interesting. And I couldn't find a good GIF or GIF file of it, but there's 2 bumpers here on the top and the bottom, and it allows you to move the physical hands up or down to avoid when you have a notification if it's blocking it, which is pretty dope. Moms don't say GIF. Oh my gosh. Which I think is pretty dope. So like here it is. Like you can have the physical screen respond to where the actual metal hands are. So the black and red and green parts behind it are the digital screen, whereas just the black and silver are the physical hands. So it's cool because if your Android Wear watch does die on its normal battery, the mechanical watch will keep going for an extended period of time. So that's the biggest thing. You know, Android Wear, their key functionality is a watch, obviously. And, you know, a lot of times they'll last a day and a half, 2 days, maybe, sometimes 3 if you're lucky. And, you know, if they die and you're out and you're like, oh, let me check the time real quick. Oh, my watch is dead. So here's the thing. It's more mechanical parts that can potentially mess up. But it's a good-looking, solid watch. I mean, it just looks like a pretty standard watch. I mean, that's a pretty big bezel with the numbers there going around the top. That's going to be a little gaudy for some people. But it says this is a crazy blend of a hybrid of Wear OS and an analog watch. But like obviously, look, this is a pretty big watch. But you know, tech people are used to kind of a big watch. Here it is with actual text over or under the thing there. So you're going to do a little bit of scrolling, obviously, through it to see when things are. I don't know if obviously the hands affect scrolling over it or how that works. But they could get in the way. The battery life goes long, but only in non-smartwatch mode. Yeah, it can go 100 days in basic time telling mode, which is pretty dope. So there's the analog watch part is made by Swiss Watch Component, which is, the Swiss always make great watches. But so the next gen, it does not use the next gen Snapdragon Wear 3100. And if you don't know, this 3100 is supposed to have like the way longer standard battery watch modes that could potentially last up to 30 days. So this is that could be a huge game changer for Android Wear watches when that comes out. But this is still old gen 2100 chip platform. So it's got your standard stuff, but it's interesting. There's all the speckaroonies and the LG V40 down there, but USB-C compatible charger, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know. This is kind of neat. Another Kickstarter program did something very similar to this a while back, but this is just LG kind of making a more mainstream version of it. I like it. I think it's a good kind of cool idea of mixing it. Martian smartwatches that went out of business, they had a version of this. Instead of it being the whole back of the screen, they just had a small cutout on the bottom. Like the lower quarter of the watch face was an LCD that did notifications and stuff like that. And they're very simple, obviously. It was just only notifications. So you weren't getting apps, you weren't getting stuff like that. But I miss that about like my Pebble that, would last like 5, 6, 7, sometimes more than a week days on a charge. And it just did notifications well. Like I didn't need it to do a bunch of other stuff. I had some workout timer set, like for rest for 2 minutes, or rest for 3 minutes, whatever. Those are the only apps that I really used outside of my normal time telling and stuff like that. So I don't know. Android Wear is at a weird spot right now, and we'll see kind of what they do to get out of it. But you guys have any thoughts on this and the future of Android Wear?
No fall detection, no go. That's all I got to say.
I hope I fall in and I can't get up.
EKG, what are we gonna do?
Yeah, no EKG.
Is the I guess the digitizer would be on top above the physical hands, right?
Right, they would have that in the glass, or like right by the glass. So that's where you get
be lower.
It's not going to mess with it.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, you kind of have, like you said, you have your running watches from Garmin and stuff that have notifications, but is 90% a watch, and then you have your all digital. It makes sense to kind of have something in the middle that kind of brings it down. I would be interested to see what kind of software they have for not making it always raised to come on, because if you just look at it to be a watch, you don't necessarily want, it always to, you could probably save 50% of your battery every day by, not having it light the screen up every time you look at it.
Right. I wonder if there's like a sensitivity for if you're just going like this versus like, like that.
Yeah.
And some of them, sorry, Mike, what was that?
I was just saying that would be the killer part of it, would be as if you can actually get it to do that.
Yeah. Shake to turn on the screen. That'd be interesting. But it doesn't have like a 5-meter rating for waterproof. It's just the IP68 resistant. So that's different than some like more fitness oriented Android Wear ones, like my Fossil watch that's Android Wear Fossil Q is like the 5-meter, you can swim in it type thing. It's like the sport model. This is not. It doesn't have NFC. It does have a heart rate. Does have a barometer and GPS, but stuff like that. Oh, wifey time, calling him. But yeah, so interesting. I like I said, I'm super excited for the next chipset to come out from Qualcomm because we're kind of stuck in that weird, like, not good battery life. Like, what is the how long is the new Series 4 Apple Watch touting that it gets on battery life? 3 days, 2 days?
Yeah, 2 or 3 days. It's longer than the other ones.
Yeah.
Well, it's because it's OLED. But...
Oh, yes, that's nice. I like it. I like it. Well, cool. Well, moving right along here. Speaking of Techtober, Microsoft just quietly dropped a bomb, and it's crazy because Microsoft doesn't do a flashy thing. They had this small like event and released like 9,000 products. Josh, as our resident Microsoft expert here,
it is crazy.
What happened?
I mean, they only dropped the Surface Pro 6, the Surface Laptop 2, the Surface Studio 2, and the Surface noise canceling headphones. So,
and they updated the Microsoft launcher on Android.
Yeah. So your phone, you should be able to app mirror any of your Android apps on Windows. So basically, like BlueStacks or whatever. But also, they finally jumped to 8th gen Intel quad core U chips. So let me throw this up here. And they decided to go with the sexy black. Or
yeah, I know. I like that.
It's so nice. It is so nice. And the best part about it is that it's not a fingerprint magnet on the back at all.
Ooh, it's like a matte instead of a glossy.
Yes, they put some sort of coating that works really well to just because I have like just crazy fingerprint fingers. But so basically the basic specs of the Surface Pro 6 as well as the Laptop 2 are essentially the same, except for the Surface Pro 6 has a better resolution of 2736 by 1824. And it also, the Laptop 2 has a dedicated fan where the i5 is fanless on the Surface Pro 6. The i7 has a fan, and the i5, I looked up the processor, is the 8250U, which is 1.6 base frequency and 3.4 max turbo, 4 cores, 8 threads. The i7 is the 8650U, which is 1.9 gigahertz, so you get 400 megahertz boost and 4.2 gigahertz max boost, which is a difference of 600 megahertz on the max, as well as 2 megabytes extra smart cache. So I'm assuming that's L2 cache. And then it has a little bit of a bump on the UHD 620 graphics. So, so yeah, but that's the Surface Pro 6. I have pre-ordered the i5, 8 gigabyte, and they got rid of 4 gigabytes now. So the base model is 8 gigabytes RAM, 128 gigs of SSD. But let's see what else they threw out there. This is what the Surface Laptop 2 looks exactly the same, as well as the Surface Pro 6, other than the new black color. Basically looks the same. You can't tell the difference between the Surface Laptop 2 and the Surface Laptop 1, other than just going to About Windows. But same great hinge on that clamshell. Still has Alcantara on the base. Now you can get it in the black, in addition to the platinum and burgundy, and then cobalt.
I like that cobalt.
Yes, I got the cobalt Surface Studio 2. So the Surface Pro 6 and the Surface Laptop do not come out until October 16th. So just basically 12 days. You can pre-order in the Microsoft Store or online. And the Surface Studio 2 ships by November 15th. So it's a month later, basically. They have 2 SKUs, both i7, 1 terabyte SSDs, 16 gig of RAM, or 32 gigs of RAM, or a 2 terabyte SSD with 32 gigs of RAM.
Ooh.
Tech specs, you can get it with a 1066 gig or a 1078 gig graphics, which is way better than the M chips before. And they're using the i7-7820HQ, which isn't full desktop grade, but it's close, which is nice. So
I wonder if they talked about getting the RTX chips in there, if they just, it wasn't cost effective, they didn't have enough time, or what.
yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful device. Like if you go into the
So
Microsoft
good.
Store, that screen, 28-inch, basically a 5K display. So the base model is 3,500. 32 gigs of RAM is 4,200, and the monster is 4,800 bucks. So they also dropped the, let's see here, accessories, new Surface headphones, which
That's cool.
yeah, they're platinum gray, silverish, and tech specs on these guys. They have 40 millimeter free edge drivers. Don't know what that means, but battery life's up to 15 hours, and does have a audio cable if you want, 3.5 millimeter, as well as USB-C connector. Has Cortana built in, so you can hands-free your assistant, but it works well for searching your computer if you're using a Surface.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it has aptX or anything like that, but the main draw is the noise cancellation. It has like up to 30 dB for active, up to 40 dB for passive.
Do you got any idea if with the USB connector it also can be USB-C pass-through audio for like on phones that don't have a headphone jack, and it's out of battery to use like wirelessly?
Out of juice. I am not sure. That is a lot of parts though.
I didn't see anything about that.
Yeah.
If they didn't mention it,
yeah,
I mean, probably.
They don't even have it in the Microsoft Store yet, so it's basically going to be, you know, they have
design.
Yeah, the design is really nice and looks super comfortable. So we'll have to see. Basically, they're just saying
about price, right?
Yeah, they're just saying I think they're saying holiday. So by Christmas, I'm sure they'll have them. They just had to get it out there and be like, guess what?
What do you think? 150 to 200? Or are they going to try to go for that 300 range?
350 is what they're saying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're saying 350. So
yikes. I mean, well, yeah, I guess they're active noise canceling. So you got to think what they're going against. The Bose Quiet Comforts, which are 350. Man, it would be really like behoove them to undercut those though and say like, oh, we're doing 250 or 299. Because let me look up right now. What's Bose QC35s?
They're only like $200, 180.
Or 350 for the newest. Yeah, they're 350. Yeah, I was right. The newest, the wireless Bose. You can probably get 25s, the last year ones.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Cheaper. But the newest Quiet Comfort 35 wireless, you can get wired ones for 150. But wireless ones like this are more. How much is the Series 1? Let me look. 35 Series 1. Series 1. Oh, they're still, you can buy them used for 270, but I don't see them on sale. I just see Series 2. So the 25s are the wired ones. 35, they're Series 1 and Series 2. So you might be able to find Series 1 somewhere, maybe 280, something like that, 300, but still not cheaper.
But the biggest takeaway is that the Surface Pro 6 does not have Iris graphics on the i7 because the Intel 8th gen processors did not include it in anything that is underneath 25 watts TDP. So the Pro 6 will boost to, I think, 25, but it's not, the base is 15 watt TDP for thermals. So it's going to depend. The improvement, though, over the Iris of the previous generation is that it's able to take advantage of up to 4 gigs of RAM. Whereas previously, I think it only was able to take up 1.7 gigabytes of the system memory. Just, basically use that as cache or whatever. But it's going to be interesting to see the comparison from the i5 to the i7 for gaming. I think with an external fan on the i5, you're going to get just about as good as the i7. And no USB-C as well. That was the other big takeaway. No Thunderbolts.
Right.
For the Surface Pro 6. The same connectors as before. So basically you're getting a spec bump, which they're saying, though, 25% improvement over performance over the Surface Pro 5 or the
That's no joke.
previous gen. Yeah, so that's going to be pretty huge as far as multitasking and video editing and coding, VMware, all that kind of stuff, if you're doing anything power and gaming. So we're going to have some fun with that. You're going to see lots of content on my channel. So, and I do also have the first look of the Surface Laptop 2 and the Surface Pro 6 on my channel. I'll throw the links in the description or in the chat for y'all to check out.
In there. Nice. I like it. Man, yeah, they just kind of rolled them out quick and
they didn't stream it. They didn't stream it at all. It was crazy.
No, you just saw a bunch of
random videos,
tweets and videos popping up. You're like, oh, hey, Microsoft, let's see all these awesome products and pictures and stuff like that. And you're like,
I know. Well, we had seen some leaks of, hey, they're going to come out with the Surface Laptop and the Surface Pro 6 in black. But yeah,
finally, I'm like, you got to do something to make it look a little bit more sleek. It took forever, but I like it. I think it looks pretty good. Well, Jeremy, there's been some good improvements and some things that people have been freaking out about. What are some of the positives and negatives happening with iOS 12? You got your fancy new, iPhone 10s Max.
I had a 10s Max.
Oh, you did? How'd it feel?
It's pretty nice. It's not that much bigger than the 10. I mean, as far as the whole profile, I mean, it's the size of a little bit smaller than the size of your standard Plus. But the screen is massive. I mean, it's just like gigantuan. I feel like I'm an actual Android user with that big of a screen. I'm like, oh, look, I have a Samsung Note 9. Oh, wait, it's not. It's iOS.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got the regular size and you got the Note size.
Exactly. So it's definitely a solid phone. But my buddy had not found out one of the biggest controversies that has been happening with said phone, which we've had everybody from MKBHD on YouTube and Lou over at his channel, which I can't remember the name.
Unbox Therapy,
that had to bring the masses of people that are saying, Lou, you have to report this because there's so many people having it happen, which was what they're dubbing ChargeGate for the iPhone 10s and 10s Max. And it definitely seems like it's random with some people's phone and some people's is not. But what they've come down to, as I've been watching some other YouTube videos and stuff, is that it's actually the default charger that comes with the phone does not charge when the phone is asleep. So if the screen goes to sleep and you put in the default Mickey Mouse 1 amp charger that comes with the phone, it will not charge it. Now iOS 12.1 is coming out in the next few weeks. Supposedly it has that as a fix from people that are using the beta, but still, really, Apple, out of the box, you can't have your phones fall asleep and
the fact that they put a 1 amp
wall
wart
charge. I mean, that's just them going for a money grab, you know. So
And
it
no
doesn't
more
fast charging.
You don't even get the fast charging out of the box.
No, you have to get their MacBook
$30
charger,
charger.
with the USB-C to Lightning adapter, or you have to be using wireless fast charging, which I do, you know, which is a lot nicer than plugging in anyway. Or using, I think even an iPad adapter will not get you the full charging, but is the 2 amps and works better and doesn't go to sleep. So it's only the default one, which not that many people use. So I can see where they would overlook it, but really, really.
Jeremy, did you see that? Oh, I should have sent it to you. Target had certain Target stores had their USB 2 amp or what amp was it? I don't know. It was for one of their MacBooks. Wall warts that were on sale and normally like 40 were $15 in clearance or something like that because it was the last gen ones or something like that, and so they were clearing out all their stock. Maybe they still have them, but I was like, for iPhone users, grab these while you can because you'll be able to charge your phone.
Yeah, any Anchor, active, you know, IQ, their stuff will automatically ramp up to be the fast charging for the iPhones and Android devices. So, you know, most people are getting replacements anyway. So it's the small few that decided to use the junky wallward.
Fun fact, for 2.5 years or 2 years, I've been using the original wall charger, the Quick Charge 2.0 for my phone.
And it wouldn't cost that much to add, you know, to actually make their wall wart workable.
Right.
It's, you know, I think they just need to go to USB-C instead of Lightning and just have that kind of charger in there and then just be done with it. Because I know why they don't do it, because the Lightning to USBs are more expensive, and the Lightning or USB-C is more expensive than Lightning to USB. They probably have like 50 million in a warehouse somewhere that they just want to get rid of. They're like, use those until they're gone.
We need to use as many of these as we possibly can until we have made enough profit back.
There's just kids in China using them as their shoelaces because they're just falling out.
Well, that's like, how long did it take them to switch over from 30 pin? You know, that was a whole thing, and of course, everyone lost their mind. Yeah. Even though it was, you know, reversible, even though it was faster, even though it was smaller, everyone was like, but I can't use my iHome boombox anymore. You know, like with my
Hey, I still have a Logitech speaker that has a 30-pin iPod deal.
Oh, I have one in my bathroom upstairs that I just use, that I use with my iPod, but it won't. My 30-pin iPod will not play through it. It freaks out. I think the 30-pin, something's wrong with it. So I just use a auxiliary cord.
Wow.
Just a normal jack in the back of it. But it's hilarious because here's the iHome but my thing won't even recognize it. I think. Hey, Paul Tech, welcome. I think that my iPhone from 2000, my iPod Nano that had a camera on the back from 2008 is finally like bit the dust. Every time I try to play music off of it, it fast forwards through the song, and then it'll just skip to the next song. Fast forward like halfway through the song, and then skip to the next song. So it'll be like da 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 da. Beep boop boop beep boop beep. You know, I'm like, no, my song. Like I play it and it'll play like 3 seconds. I'm like, yeah. And then after 3 seconds, it fast forwards, skips to the next song. Fast forward, skips to the next song. And it just loops until it's done with the album. And then it's done. 2008 iPod Nano. No. Do you guys remember that one?
Yeah.
And 2008. It had or was it 2009? No, 2009, because it had had the camera on the back. I'm looking up an image.
You can't even get the standard old Nano anymore. You can only get the touch. So. Sad times. Ridgemont High.
Look at this guy. This was peak Apple right there.
Oh yeah. Oh
the
yeah,
camera on the back of that bad boy.
that's amazing. That is amazing.
And you have a little speaker there. You can get some
Wow.
high quality videos.
So
Wow.
they had the FM tuner built in.
Yeah, I believe so.
They were trying so hard to beat those little flip
$5
cams
or whatever.
Oh, flip cams too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the next gen after that they removed the camera, but this iPod was advertising the band Phoenix. It was a good album that year. Oh, it has a pedometer too. Fitness.
All right, Joel. Let's talk about the real disappointment that everybody's talking about right now. The LG V40.
Right. So they're sending some mixed signals right now with people from the V40. So yesterday was the launch, and everybody's saying, I think 95% of titles are like, phone with 5 cameras, phone with 5, phone with 5, phone with 5. I'm like, okay, we get it. It has 5 cameras, and that's what they're basically touting. So it has a regular selfie camera and then a wide, a wide angle selfie camera. Then it has a standard lens. It has a wide angle lens and a 2x telephoto lens. So pretty cool stuff. More ways to capture every shot. So you can get portrait mode on your front selfie camera. Yeah, Paul, you're right. The marketing is pretty terrible. Think about the LG G7. They have this marketing campaign about what's it going to take for you to switch. But the entire campaign focused on their Google Now button built into the G7. It didn't focus on the wide angle lens. It didn't focus on the cameras. It didn't focus on your software. No, they focused on the LG G7's Google Now button with Aubrey Plaza saying, okay, Google, what's it going to take to switch? Sorry if I just made everybody jump onto their Google. But yeah, here's triple shot, which is a huge gimmick. Triple shot, all it is it takes 3 pictures. It takes the standard, or it takes the wide angle, the standard, and the telephoto, puts them all together and does this really derpy. If you watch MKBHD's video, it does derpy music. It's like da, 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 and zooms in. But it takes them really fast, and they don't even look good. Like, it doesn't take it to focus really. It takes it like a Instagram super zoom kind of effect. Yeah. So it captures that. It gives you all 3 photos, but they said the last shot, which is the standard one, I believe, or maybe the telephoto, is usually blurry. Right. The telephoto one is. And then they said it takes about a minute. It's a minute to process. So I'm like, the city shot's pretty cool. It just takes a couple photos, and whatever's moving, you can highlight whatever is moving and keep it moving with everything else around it. Kind of cool. It's fun for like an Instagram type thing. Kind of a fun little thing. Wide angle always looks good. Here, standard looks great. Here's the portrait mode. Even some of the portrait mode that I saw in some of their videos were like not that great at processing, but there's the triple shot where, it punches in. Wide angle selfie, if you have that one other friend that, you need to punch in there. That's clearly 5 other friends. Right. What I'm saying is, if you take a normal selfie, you can pop in one more guy. Yeah, so here's the standard, the super wide, and that telephoto. And here's the best selfie. Oh, here you go. Here's the standard. There you go. Her shoulder wasn't in there, and now it is. Oh man. Look. There it is. And here's the cine shot, the AI cam, which is interesting. I've seen some good comparisons where the AI cam actually did better, especially in low light situations where it's going to get better color processing. So that's kind of nice. It's kind of like an intelligent auto on a camera, on an actual camera that you put on intelligent auto and it does better to get low light pictures. So here, did it actually just say husky? it knows what type of dog it is. Come on. Come on. So that's interesting. So bright, so light. They really touted how light it is, which is interesting. It's considerably lighter than the Note 9. It's a little taller in ratio than the Note 9. And they actually have more pixels per inch than the Note 9.
Do you get the black bars on YouTube like you do with some other phones?
That's a good question. I mean, they haven't showed it off yet.
Might be pushing it to where, it might not have the black bars on the sides.
Yeah. Whereas the Note 9 is 18.9, so it's a wider device. Unfortunately, I think the LG V40 will get lost in the shadows of Apple and Samsung. Very true. But so Danny Winget did a really great side-by-side picture comparison. The only thing he did, though, was he did it all in auto mode. And you guys know I've done videos on manual settings and how much I love to do manual settings on phones. And pretty much every phone company now has manual settings built in, and you can get some really great photos. LG this year was the first year that they actually had decent auto shots. Most of the shots, you really didn't notice a big difference, which was a huge step forward, because even the V20 versus the Note 7, there was a big difference in shots. Like the Note 7 out the box was a better shooter. But I could get better pictures in manual mode than I saw on auto mode on the Note 7. So I'd like to see someone that does some manual photos and really tries to get it dialed in there. So the boom speaker, it's only going to have a bottom-facing speaker, but it's this new boom technology that they have that has a resonance chamber that if you set it down, like when you're watching something, it makes it very, very loud. Still the 32-bit high-quality quad DAC, and then the DTS 3D surround sounds when you have the headphones plugged in. So they're misleading here because it has a little thing by the it has a thing right by where the top is, but it's still only a bottom firing speaker. It is not a stereo setup or a dual speaker setup. And colors, the Moroccan blue. There's actually like a purple color as well, like a pinkish. So there's a couple things that are different here. So it is 64 gigs instead of a starting 128 that the Note 9 is going to have. There is a 8 gig variant 512 of the Note 9. There's no 8 gig variant here. It's just 6 gigs of RAM and 64 for this one. I think you can move up to the 128, but no 8 gig model. So this comes out the 19th of this month. And yeah, I don't know. So the only camera that has optical image stabilization is the standard 12 megapixel camera. They actually moved down megapixels in the standard camera here. The G7 had a 16 megapixel, but it's better low light because of the larger pixels here, which is nice to see.
Isn't it 1.5 aperture?
Yes.
F1.5 on the main one. Yep.
Yes, which is nice. Where did I have? Here's this article from BGR is like, hey, here's reasons not to buy the LG V40 right now, because of here's all the phones that are coming out in October. The Nokia 7.1, which is like a mid-ranger, Google Pixel 3 and 3 XL announced next week, Razer Phone 2, Galaxy A9, which is supposed to have 3 cameras on it, kind of showing what's going to be on the S10, which should be a standard wide angle and telephoto. Huawei Mate 20 Pro and Mate 20. Unfortunately, those not a big deal for us because they come later to the United States and they're more, like harder to get and don't work as many networks. OnePlus 6T, which is rumored to be closer to $600 than $900, and then the Asus ROG phone, which is probably going to be like closer to $1,200 and not practical for most people. And I have no clue what the Honor Magic 2 is, and it probably sucks, but we'll see. So here's that like pinkish one. There's a silver one, but I think the U.S. markets are black and blue. There might be some carriers that got the silver and that purple maroonish one. The one thing about the telephoto lens is that it's a 2.4 aperture 2 times and electronic image stabilization. So low light and stabilization, it's going to be hard to get some good shots unless you're standing perfectly still in a well-lit day. So this is great if you're like, say, at a baseball game and you want to get like a good shot of the dugout, or like, you know, you're going to DC and you want to get some pictures during the day of some of the monuments. But like, if you're at night trying to get a zoom in on, you know, like an animal that you see out there, it's going to be terrible. It's not going to look good. It's less aperture, and it's going to be there. So I'm probably not going to use the telephoto that much. Honestly, I'd rather them cut down the cost a little bit, just put the 2 lenses in there, and the wide angle front selfie, I could care less about 2. I'd be fine with them having 3 cameras, but they got to do something to differentiate themselves. And I'm glad they didn't use like a Huawei and do a depth sensor or do a black and white sensor. You know, I'd rather they actually use useful sensors. That's something that I could potentially use than something else. What are you guys' thoughts on the V40 now that you've seen a little bit about it?
Well, looks like you can get the G7 for a lot cheaper than $900.
Very true.
So if you're sold on LG and you want the quad DAC, and that's, well, the G7 only has the LCD, right? Super LCD or whatever.
Yeah. So some of the differentiating factors with the G7 and the V40 is you're getting an LCD versus an OLED on the V40. On the V40, since they both have notches, it behooves you to have an OLED because it's going to look better with a notch. And the true blacks of the top bar where the notification can be used. And Android does better with the notch, by the way, because you can actually get notifications up there. You can actually get some of the other stuff a little bit better. So they're a little bit more useful with the notch, as silly as that sounds to say in 2018, useful notch, but at least the space is used a little bit better. So OLED versus that, it has a bigger battery at 300 milliamp hours more, 3,300 instead of 3,000. 3,000 milliamp hours battery is pretty small when you think about it. Here, let me do a real quick LG G7. I'm on GSM Arena, and I'm putting a comparison real quick for you guys to see, so you guys can see the cold hard facts. So here's some of the things. They look, I mean, pretty similar. The aspect ratios are different. Obviously, you can see the chin of the V40 is smaller. And the screen has a better like look to aspect ratio there. Like you're looking like you're getting a decent bit more screen out of that. There are some better. It's a Cat 16, so it's getting a better the gigabit instead available, which Sprint's already said is going to be taking advantage of that real soon, and a couple other ones saying they're going to be taking care of that. Going to be using that too, so that's interesting. It's crazy how light these both are, 169 and 162 grams, or 5.9 and 5.7 ounces. Both still Gorilla Glass, both still Nano SIM and IPA68. But these are like some of the only phones that are still doing military standard compliant, so they're going to be better on drop tests for the overall body of the phone, whereas Note 9 and iPhones, they don't have this, but it's still glass on the front and back. So, you know, if you drop it on the front and back, you're still screwed, but at least you got a little bit more goodness for that. So this has an 83% screen ratio, whereas the G7 has an 82 and 6.1 versus 6.4. You have a 537 pixels per inch, 564, both 19.5 aspect ratio. They're both the Dolby Vision HDR10. So this is the LG UX 7.0 Plus. I'm not sure what's on the on the G7, but that's interesting. But they pretty much have the same exact setup when it comes to processor and GPU. So you're not changing much there. But a lot of the models are still 64 gigs, 4 gigs of RAM. So you're getting 2 gigs of extra RAM, which is really useful here on that. So here's all the cold hard facts about the Aperture. You got the ultra wide is f 1.9, the regular is 1.5, and the telephoto is 2.4. That just seems not that great on it.
I mean, during the daytime, it's not going to be a big deal.
This says it has OIS on the telephoto, but everywhere else I've read, this says it doesn't have optical image stabilization. I wonder if this is wrong.
GSM Arena, I don't know. Fact check. Check Snopes, man.
It's definitely saying no on the ultra wide, but I thought the telephoto did not, but I could be wrong. But yeah, pretty much everything else is similar. Front facing camera 1.9 and 2.2. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, you're getting more pixel here's. You're getting more larger pixels. But yeah, I mean, you want to spend a couple extra $100 is what you're going to end up doing, because you can get the LG G7 for roughly around $600-700, whereas this is $900, which is pretty crazy.
Joel, is your V20 LCD?
It is a LCD, which is a bummer. And one of the biggest thing it's a bummer with my screen right now is there's screen bleed, like bad. Whenever, and that normally happens more on LEDs. But if I'm playing, say, Pokemon Go, if I'm playing Pokemon Go and then I turn off Pokemon Go, my screen's been off for a while. If I do anything more than 30 minutes, like I'm on Twitter, Facebook, play Pokemon Go, not even 30 minutes, like 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever I'm doing next, a shadow of whatever I'm doing is over my screen. It's burnt in for a while.
So it's like ghosting.
It's ghosting real hard. And so I have to leave off my phone for like 10 minutes and then it'll go away. You might see like a faint thing, but yeah, it happens a lot, which is a kind of a bummer. But yeah, the V40, it's going to be really hard. LG Mobile is losing hand over fist for money right now. They're not doing well each quarter, and I don't know if they're going to do any better with the V40 here. And another part of the confusion is it's basically a G7 Plus. It's just a bigger screen, LED screen, and another camera, like 2 more cameras. So I think LG needs to do a whole rebrand and either do full V series or full G series. Just do one phone and do it well, because they're losing people, and they need to drop the thin Q. We all know that. I haven't even mentioned it the whole time because it's stupid.
I mean, they don't have a V40 and then a V40 thin Q, do they?
No, V40 thin Q is what it is.
They just call everything thin Q now.
It's their new branding thing.
South Korea, who knows?
Yeah.
It's what they think Americans say. Thank you. Huh? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness. But yeah. So I don't know. I personally, unless the Pixel 3 is on some type of carrier launch and I don't have to buy it outright for $1,000 for Pixel 3 XL. What? Someone just did a message and it's held for review. But unless it's like somehow that I don't have to buy it like straight out for $1,000+, I'll probably go with the V40, because overall it's a super solid device. It's cool. I'm gonna like it. But it's what is it gonna be for you? Who knows? I think a lot of people are going to like just the G7 just as well. Maybe pick up an S9 Plus for cheap. because the S9 Plus you can get for pretty cheap right now. You know, so I don't know. There's a lot of options right now. What are you guys thinking? Like, where does that kind of leave people right now?
Well, if they wanted an LG phone, they're just going to buy a different phone.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
they're just going to go elsewhere. They're going to be like, hey, I'm going to go in the phone store and buy something that's not LG.
Which is unfortunate. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
there's not. What did LG show yesterday that got people to be like, oh, I need to buy the V40? Is it a telephoto lens? Not really. Like that's the one differentiating factor that they didn't have on the G7.
Right.
I mean, it's a better screen, it's a little bit bigger battery, and you got the telephoto lens. Yeah. For me, that's worth it because it's a better battery. It's a screen's a big deal to me. So having an OLED versus the LCD, that's the reason I would spend the extra money right there. Totally. For me, but a normal person that's like sending texts, taking pictures here and there, they're gonna love the G7 and it's gonna be great. But I'm a techie that's like, oh, I love LED screens, and that was one of the biggest reasons why I almost didn't buy the V20 was it was still an LCD screen. And over the years, every time I put it up against a new Note 8 or Brandy got the S9, her screen looks way better than mine. LG, you know, the new LEDs look great. So, but lastly here, jumping in real quick, the Pixel launch is right around the corner, and the newest leak is there's a brand new sand color coming around. It kind of looks like a rose kind of color. It's just like an off-white pinkish sand color. Not my jam, but there's a Pixel 3 on the left, Pixel 3 XL with the eyebrow notch, which is crazy. The unibrow there, or the Hitler stash, whichever you want to call it. I don't know. It's crazy. So we got the black, the white. There's supposed to be a mint green that they've been
like
white.
the Nexus 5X or
they were they keep it, but here's the thing, it could have this white Pixel have the mint green. So people are whenever they sent some marketing stuff out for emails, they mentioned white, black, and mint green. But people are wondering, they're like, oh, we hope it's not just this power button that you see here on the right on the white one, because that would be really lame if it was just the power button and they weren't actually giving us a mint green one, because the 5X looked awesome, that mint green one. But we'll see. Here's the all black with like the kind of brush there. This will be the first one again that has wireless charging. There's a bunch of stuff. There's a new charging box. There's a new Google a home that has an actual screen on it. There's a couple of things coming out. The new Pixel Buds that are coming out, Pixel Buds 2. So, you know, October 9th, it's just next week. And I'm sure there'll be more stuff leaking throughout this week. But what do we not know about the Pixel 3 at this point? I mean, the wireless charging, the 2 cameras on the front, the stereo speakers, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of pricing and availability, and if they're going to do any carrier, you know, connections besides Verizon is kind of where we're at now. Like, what do you got left to show us here, Google?
Right. Yep. Not much. Not much at all.
But yeah, I'm still looking forward to it. That's why I'm holding out before buying anything, is just to see Google wow me, you know, because I've kind of been right here. It's like, all right, well, I decided I was thinking about buying. I have an upgrade, you know, October 1st, and I was thinking about just buying a Note 9. A buddy of mine bought a Note 9, and it's great. And I've played with some. The biggest thing with Samsung, their software, I still don't like it. Bixby button, still annoying, and it's right by the volume, so you hit it all the time, and it brings up Bixby. And then the curved screen, it's still hard to get used to. Every time I use it in the store, like, I have big hands, and it's a big phone, and like your hand will hit around it and knock the edge part of the screen and bring up that edge detection. It's like, I don't know, maybe that's not for me, but people say the more you use it, the more you get used to it. But for me, that's more of a way to sell phones than it is an actual useful functionality, because it looks good and it feels good, but is it actually useful? Some people maybe, but for me, not that big of a deal. Any other thoughts for the afternoon, evening here?
Are they going to be releasing a new version of Android with their new phone?
It'll be 9. It'll be
Pie.
Which is
Pie.
already releasing, but they originally said it potentially 9.1, but I don't think it's ready in time. So 9 it is. They might have some optimizations. Maybe they surprise us and get some special stuff that'll be out. But Pixel and Pixel 3, the Google Home Hub with the screen on it, which will be kind of just like a Amazon competitor, you know, the Pixel stand, the wireless stand, Pixel Book 2, which will be there. One of the things that's kind of this is something that was kind of we weren't sure about right away, is the Pixel Slate, a 2-in-1 Chromebook, which they haven't had like a Chrome tablet yet, which will be interesting. A new Chromecast, the Pixel Buds 2. So this will be the first Chrome like tablet from them, which will be interesting. Pen support, expensive pen.
Well, they did have the Chromebook Pixel, which was a tablet, and then you could add the. Didn't they? Yeah, they did it already.
They did?
Yeah.
Well, then the Pixel Book. Maybe they did. Maybe I missed something.
They did it already. Yep. I just don't think it had a stylus.
Got it. Okay. Well, this is interesting. So this is a 2-in-1. It'll be interesting. I don't know. We'll see if, like I said, like if they have any surprises that we don't know about. Kind of hard to in the 2018. What was it? MKBHD was like, the biggest surprise of 2018 will be if there's a phone company that releases something without us knowing about it. You know, because there was rumors that there might be a Google Pixel Mini that's like a 5-inch, and then they have the 5.8-inch regular Pixel and the 6.4 or whatever Pixel XL. Could they have a Mini that has all the normal that fits that? So who knows? I don't know. All right, guys. Josh, you got lots of Surface stuff coming up then soon, right, on your channel?
Yes. So I still going to do a few more videos with the Surface Go, which I still am loving. It's just so small, and the form factor is just so nice with that 10-inch screen, but it's still high res and crisp, and the weight is very nice. So yeah, I just did tested out a 3DS emulator called Citra. Played a couple of games on that, which new Super Mario Brothers 2 from the 3DS runs great on. I played Mario Kart 7 as well, but it was a little hitchy. And then, but yeah, I'm gonna try out some Dolphin, GameCube, Wii stuff, and then some other. There's a program called RetroArch, which is basically like a RetroPie application, but it runs on Windows 2. And it basically just, you can load any emulator in like a XMB kind of like Plex style, like easy access all your content and that kind of thing. So it's pretty, yeah. And it like accepted my Bluetooth Xbox controller, no problem. So I played some Battletoads with it.
Yeah,
really easily. So yeah,
that's fun. A lot of people are excited because the Nintendo Online, you get access to a bunch of retro hits with your monthly fee that you pay. So you get a bunch of NES games that come with your membership to Nintendo Online, which is kind of cool. And they actually released Bluetooth NES controllers that you can buy for the Switch, but they only work for those NES games. They don't work for anything else, which is kind of bummer to spend like $60 for 2 controllers, and they only work for those NES games that you have to pay a monthly subscription to play anyway.
Right.
Like, that's going to be a small market of people that are going to buy that.
PC Master Race.
Right, where you can just play it anyway.
Unbelievable.
Jeremy, anything else you're going to be having coming out the blogs or anything coming up here soon?
Yeah, but before we go there, I think everybody should recognize that your channel is finally at 4,000 subscribers.
Hey!
Yes!
The road to 5K.
Road to 5K.
Yes.
Done. Tell your friends.
Tell your friends about the YouTubes.
But yeah, I have a blog that just came out today for iPhone users that use iPhones for their business. So there's 7 quick tips there of what some of the new things that came out with iOS 12, and some new tricks and some old tricks, just reminding people of some of the things but the new things like the Siri shortcuts and screen time and stuff like that. Just goes over a couple things.
Nice. Yeah, Siri shortcuts are pretty dope.
OmniTechPro.com/blog.
It's that is in like the 3rd link below the description down there, and we'll add some the Surface videos from Josh are down there too.
Nice.
His channel, my channel, Jeremy's OmniTech Pro website is there, as well as Twitch links for live streaming. Been playing some Fortnites. I was playing earlier. I played for like 30 minutes, trying out some new keybinds, Jeremy, and I took off all building off of my mouse except for ramps, and wow, was I struggling a bit.
Okay.
And yeah, it was slow rolling, but I moved floors and walls to keyboard. I had floors already on the keyboard, but I still used it on my mouse like 95% of the time.
Yeah, I had to force myself to.
And was that?
I just said I had to force myself to take it off the mouse.
Yeah, I did. I did today. I finally took it off today. I played a little bit in like a couple minutes in playground mode and was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And I started building and immediately reverted back to my mouse keys. Like I got pretty high and started going faster and faster. And then I got to a point where I couldn't keep up. So I switched to my mouse buttons, and then I took it off and played some matches. And like the first build battle I got in, I killed the guy, but like barely. Like if he was decent at building, he would have killed me so easily. Actually, I outbuilt him and he fell down and knocked my build down. And I shot him in the face with my shotgun as I was falling. So thankfully that worked that way. But yeah, cool. Well, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for supporting the tech channels, the Heslop Tech Talk with my bros. Fun times. Thanks for watching, friends. I appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day. And as always, you keep it classy.
Pumpkin spice.